Well, hello, Falcon fans. Welcome to another edition of BG Falcon Hockey Weekly. Ryan Valen, head coach Chris Bergeron here from the Bowling Green Falcon hockey team. Coach, let's go through the weekend that was at Alaska Fairbanks. Game one was kind of like an even period throughout. In the first period, then they score a power play goal even throughout or it was actually more lopsided for your team on the second period. And didn't really materialize the way things wanted to go.
Yeah, I thought we got jumped a little bit in the first period. We were only down 1-0, but that's basically because Eric Dopp played well that first period, and we gave up a power play goal on a rush, which we just don't normally do, and I don't think we created a whole lot. The shots were definitely lopsided, but what we did do is we kind of stopped that and had a much better second period. The unfortunate part of that statement is there was a bunch of shots and chances that didn't equate into goals. And not only that, but of the couple chances they had, one of them did go in. So now we're down 2-0 going in the third. And I thought the third was okay, Ryan. It definitely wasn't as good as the second. Wasn't as bad as the first. We were able to score late. And we pushed a little bit and just didn't execute at a very good level. I thought we were competitive, but we definitely didn't execute. There was too many turnovers, too many missed opportunities, and you kind of get what you get. And I thought Fairbanks played well. They deserved that game on Friday for sure.
And then 24 hours later, or less than 24 hours later, your team remains perfect when the first game is a loss. Your team comes back out and gets redemption, earns the win. 2-0 was the final there. Eric Dopp the shutout.
Yeah, Eric played really well. I mean, starting with him, he played really well. I thought the first two periods were good on our part. We scored early in the first, which I was hoping would be a little bit of a springboard into one of those games where pucks go in, and it just didn't materialize that way. And the only period I didn't like was the third. Fairbanks really pushed hard. They outshot us almost 2-1 in the third period. I think it was 16-9 or something. And if it wasn't for Dopp, we don't win that game. We were a little undisciplined. I didn't like our discipline. 2 5-minute game with game misconduct, so that's not acceptable. The undisciplined play, and it wasn't. I mean, Sam Craigs is a little bit of a repeat offender, but Max Johnson isn't. And it put us in a tough spot. We were, numbers-wise, it made the bench really short, and obviously the fourth game of a stretch on the road that was very difficult just in terms of travel. Our guys really had a gutsy effort. Although it wasn't a great third period, we showed guts there, and we found a way to come away with a split. And as you mentioned, the last 3 weekends has been a little bit of the same scenario, but at least we came home with something and kind of kept ourselves in that conversation, especially with what happened around the league.
Well, your team did come home with 3 points and a chance to maybe even move up further in the WCHA. Right now the team is slotted at number 2, and this week brings in Ferris State in the lower part of the WCHA standings, but still Ferris State is always a feisty team to play.
Yeah, for sure. I know their season hasn't gone the way they wanted, their coaching staff wanted. They've had some injury. They've had some situations that's made them thin at a couple of different positions. But this team is absolutely capable. And now they're painted into the corner. They're sitting in 9th, and they're going to have to earn their way into that 8th and maybe above spot. And we're going to get a hungry team. Not only that, they've been off. I mean, they were off this past weekend. So they're going to be fired up, and we have to be ready. The back end of the Alaska trip isn't easy. We're aware of it. There's no excuses. We're not going to allow any excuses to come in, but we're going to have a hungry, well-rested Ferris team coming in this weekend. And there's a good rivalry there, whether it be the CCHA or the WCHA. These two programs have played against one another, regular season, playoffs, and so on, and probably a little bit of a hate-on for one another. And I'm expecting a very difficult weekend against a very good opponent.
Well, it'll definitely be a very fun weekend as the team returns home to wrap up the winter session here at BGSU. And, of course, you can catch both games here at the Slater Family Ice Arena, 7:30, 7 p.m. puck drop on Friday, 7:07 p.m. on Saturday. You can also catch both of those games on the Falcon Radio Network. I'll have you covered, and we'll talk to you next week when the Falcons travel to Northern Michigan.